Hey everyone, Richard with SB Comm here. Today we interviewed a few of our clients to share their journey of how it was to implement technology into their home with us, as well as how the relationship went long term. I hope you enjoy. Appreciate you taking the time today to come share your experience. That's what we wanted to do, is just, have clients like you come over, have that open and honest conversation of just the experience. And you and I have done 3 projects now.
3 houses, yeah.
Yeah. So we first met, in 2015? I thought it was 16.
It was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
When we bought the house on Rivermere Way.
That's right.
Yeah. So we were buying the house. It was a spec house, and there was, I believe the builder had a bunch of big appliances stolen from the property.
Your house and the one across the street. I remember that, actually. Yeah. He had to redo the floors because they scraped up the floors. And
yes. Yeah. It was a big mess, and it was a beautiful, it's a beautiful, big, beautiful home. And so that's what he said, that he had reached out to you guys to put in some security cameras. And so I remember when we were looking at the house, we go down into the unfinished part of the basement, and, I'm kind of a audio video guy. I like listen to music and video and sound and stuff. And, there's this cool rack down there, with a bunch of flashing lights. And it was pretty awesome, like a computer center,
right.
And so that was probably what kind of started the whole conversation, was, hey, what's this for?
Right.
Oh, well, we had some break-ins, we installed security. So I think you guys had security tied in, as well as some cameras set up. And so I was thinking, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then I think you guys had also pre-wired that house.
Yes. Yeah. Ron had me design it because he knew, right? Because technology is a thing. And I want to make sure that the wires are in place, so for whatever homeowner wants, they can do. And I was like, absolutely. So we designed the whole thing and then pre-wired it.
Which I appreciate 100%, particularly after our Roswell house, which we can talk about, which was one that we did not have a hand in,
yes.
In building or designing that space. But yeah, so I remember learning about that, and then I think you had your equipment well branded. Mm-hmm. So I reached out, and we talked, and I think you kind of walked me through what the place was wired up for. My thing at the time, I think I was really focused on whole house audio.
Sure.
I like to, I like music, and I like to listen. I want to be able to listen to music outside, and if I'm going from one room to another, or if we're having a bunch of people over, have, music playing in different places. And also TV setup. I think there was some surround sound speaker wiring set up. And
in the great room. Yeah.
Yeah. In the great room, which it turns out we didn't end up setting up as a TV room. We used the big family room, the keeping room. And you helped us with some really good ideas for all of that, and one of my favorites was that we've carried forward into the 2 other houses was the his and hers TV system.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, I typically separate them out, his and hers, so that way you can have your sources, she can have hers, and there won't be any conflict.
And if you're watching it in one room and you're I want to go down to the gym or something to go work out, I can transfer. If I'm watching his, I can take that down with me and keep it on his down there, and she'll flip it over to hers and watch what she's watching. But so that was my first experience with sort of defragmenting all of that stuff that I had. Mm-hmm. So I had it. I just had it in a bunch of different ways. We had wireless cameras, Arlo cameras, I think.
Before the Rivermere home.
Yeah. So before we met you guys, we had a lot of this stuff. It was just in kind of, it was disconnected. And, so we had, million different remote controls and various apps and, had the wireless cameras, which, actually, was pretty decent. When they first came out, for lack of a better solution, right? They worked pretty good, except that, two things. One, you really couldn't put them up very high.
That's right.
Unless, you wanted to be getting at a big giant ladder on whenever the batteries would need to be recharged or be replaced or something like that. And it was the battery issue. So we had that stuff. I had music being played in different rooms, but that's because it was being driven by different amplifiers and, in different rooms, and, surround sound system that would take 2 or 3 minimum, remote controls to kind of operate, and nothing was really integrated. And so I was being, a little bit of a nerd about that stuff myself. I was kind of fascinated when we had a chance to talk about the Rivermere house and what some of the possibilities were. And so, I think we added cameras, and you guys did the security, and we did the whole house audio, and put in a bunch of TVs.
That's right.
And set up the, what was a little rack, then became a big giant.
Oh, we got big.
Tower rack. But,
yep.
That was my first experience, I guess, with pulling all that stuff together. Loved the simplicity of, I could do anything on my phone. When we had remotes that were, everything was integrated into, which is kind of cool, if you're just sitting on the sofa or something. But to be able to use your phone, which is with you, most of the time, to operate all of the different aspects of the house was pretty cool.
Cool. Well, so going into Rivermere, that's your first time experiencing a truly integrated system, right? Tell me, when we first met, what was the decision like that in or the feeling that you had? Because obviously when we met, we had a budget, right? Based on our process, we create this budget by category. But what was the defining factor that said, all right, yeah, no, these are our guys. Let's run with this. Let's see where this goes.
I would say, like anything. I don't, everything is about relationships, in business, who we do business with, who I do business with, and in other areas. It's all about relationships. And, I think we had a good vibe from your working relationship with Ron. And, the fact that, you had kind of solutions to, I knew what some of my, I knew like integrating and defragmenting was a lot of what I wanted. But your thoughts on even customizing it to how we would use it, I think built a lot of trust in the relationship, like the his and hers kind of TV model.
Right.
And just some of the suggestions I think that you had on, the types of products that we were going to integrate, the knowledge base about, security placement and cameras, and the fact that I think you guys had the security kind of integrated into your model at the time.
Yeah.
Too,
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of it was all under one big umbrella.
So I think all of that, and then, just getting to meet, your guys. I know you're probably, probably not as much out in the field running your empire now that you have. But, the fact that you were out there and guys like Chris, Malcolm, and others who, we got to know really well and became friends with. And, I would say part of it was you were there when we were kind of in the process. But we would never have moved forward with any of that, and we, or we would have sought some additional, bids or input, which I think we probably did.
Right.
But, I remember, looking at some of the products and like the Sony TVs and, the prices that you were giving us on that were competitive, to what we could buy them for, ourselves. And so, it all kind of checked out.
So it sounds like during that initial phase, it was just the trust was built, right? And, that helped make that decision process. Yep, I'm going to go with these guys. Looks like they're in that market value, but there's clear vibing going on. Both with the relationship I have with Ron, which I still do. It's like semi-retired. But that vibe, and then that extended to you. And it sounds like it extended even after the fact with our technicians and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. We got to like everybody who came out to the house and did work at any of the houses that you guys worked with us on.
You were before my service department really came to full fruition.
Yeah.
You were way before that.
Now, it works really well because I can, if I send an email to the support group, they'll get back to me, right away, very, very quickly. And, I'll detail kind of what my issue is. They'll come back with, okay, well, I'm glad you did this, this, and this. Here's something else to try. Try that. Give us a call back. If that doesn't work, we'll call you. Or they, if you call in on the number, or I reach out to Jeff or Brianna. Everybody's very, very responsive.
What's really unique in this is, again, we had 3 different projects. One was spec, with a builder who understood his clientele and invested to make sure it made it seamless for you, right? So, I want to dive down that path because I have these kind of conversations with our trade partners all the time, right? Architects, builders, and interior designers, of bringing in a consultant like us on the front end, right? So that way it can be prepped for whatever is needed, no matter how little or how big. Yeah. I would like to, pivot and talk about the Roswell home, because that was also, I love the location. I remember when we went there to your house, I was like, dude, I love this house. Like, this is amazing.
So do we. It's perfect.
Location and everything. I was like, this is legit. However, there wasn't an infrastructure to work with.
Yeah, so fairly new house too, right? So it was built in 2017 or 18, I think. Mm-hmm. And so not only was it not wired for anything, there was no conduit. A lot of times, or maybe not a lot of times, but sometimes builders, even if they don't want to invest in the pre-wiring things, they'll at least run conduits to make it easier. And that that house it's a very long house and kind of faces, lengthwise it's east-west, right, and then north-south. Well, so we needed to run a lot of the wiring east-west. And unfortunately, because it wasn't pre-wired, all the joists ran the wrong way.
That's right. I remember Connie being very upset with the amount of holes that we had to do.
Well, that was when we were really fortunate to have a backup house in the lake house.
Right. But with yours, it was very particular because I remember, Connie did not want to see anything in the ceilings because this was in Rivermere, your ceilings were higher. So it was okay to see those things. But in this house, those ceilings were like 9 feet.
On the main floor, yeah.
We did invisible speakers for that, the kitchen and living room space.
Yeah.
So she was very upset, but I remember when we were done, how did that turn out? How did she experience that one?
First of all, whenever I think of those, I think of, so I think you brought them up as a solution to that. Mm-hmm. I think I asked you I said, well, can you send me like a picture?
Yeah.
You sent me a picture of your office, like with a desk and like a wall.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I'm like, what the hell is this? So I texted you back and I said, well, where are the speakers? And you said, well, they're invisible. You can't see them. I want to see what the actual speaker looks like. So I think then the next iteration of that was you sent me the same picture back and you drew like a circle as to where the speakers were.
That's right.
All right, I get it. They're invisible, but they have to look, before they become invisible, they have to look like something. That's what I wanted to get a look at. So yeah, I remember that just cracked me up. But then, yeah, learning about those things and that they're vibration, and that you put the mud on them and paint them. I mean, they're amazing in that room because it kind of feeds into it's like the keeping room, dining room, kitchen area, and I mean, sound follows you all the way around the room, and it's great with the TV on and the music, and I think you also introduced us to I know you did, the frame TV.
Yes, we did. So that, because again, not having that black box in that space, so we offered a frame option to hide that.
So, I mean, that was a great, I'd never heard of the frame TV.
If you had a friend next to you and you were to be able to, they're going through that, they're about to start that journey. What advice would you give them in order to not only, pick technology, whatever that case may be, but even if they want to get involved in putting technology in it, what advice would you give them in order for them to be successful in doing that?
Tell people to get 2 or 3 opinions, and then as you're meeting people, you get, a feel for their skill sets and the relationship, and you want to work with people that you trust.
Out of your experience in being with us for this long, if there is one thing we could take away today to learn and get better at, what would that be?
I would say in the design phase, and I think we've sort of evolved together. When we were talking about the Rivermere house.
Right.
I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. In the initial part, you were suggesting things to me, presuming that I have some base level of knowledge, which I did not.
Right.
I don't know. I just want sound to come out of this room, when I push a button.
Right.
So figure out the simplest way to make that happen.
There was a question I asked you after we finished Rivermere, and I do want to end it with this question to see if the answer is still the same. I don't know if you remember this, but I'll answer it. So when you're shopping for a home like Rivermere, right? And let's just give it a price point, right? Whatever that dollar amount is. If that home was $100,000 more, but it had the technology embedded into it, would you have rather have saved the $100,000 and then put whatever you want, or would you have said, yes, I'll buy it and pay that extra $100,000 because it's already, it has all the technology already in it. I don't have to worry about it.
It could definitely dissuade me from buying a house if it's not either, pre-wired or minimally has, conduit run where lines can be easily fished, post in a post that way. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe anybody would build a house that is not like that these days.
Well, I'm happy that, obviously we've had this relationship for a very long time, but just to rehear it today, it sounds like that the experience was so good at Rivermere that it came to a point of decision when it came to the lake house and Roswell. Like, I can't live the old way.
Rather be going backwards.
Can't go back. So that experience is it goes a long way. So again, man, I really appreciate you today.